Michael Knowles sat down for an interview with Justin Waller, and they went back and forth in an important exchange about marriage. Waller has become known and is outspokenly critical of traditional marriage and is known to practice polygyny. This is the pattern of mating wherein a male has more than one female mate. Check out this back and forth between these two, and then I'll share another short clip from later in the conversation in which Waller then blatantly contradicts what he stands for here. This is important within the context of the cultural, marriage, and religion debate. Here it is.
Let's go back to the marriage thing. No disrespect, truly. If she wants to wreck you, she can.
Yes, totally.
So this is not a knock on religion. It's wishful thinking for especially a normal man, that's not you, to go into the world, set up this structure on religion and her abiding by that 2024 hypergamy, social media, everything that's involved, to think that you would take that kind of deal in today's marketplace and not be exposing yourself to a major risk that can wreck you.
You are exposing yourself to a major risk.
So when I say wishful thinking, I think
You mean risk?
exactly that.
But you take on risk all the time. You just said if I'm not going to go bankrupt every 4 years, I'm not taking on enough risk.
But I do them aggressively towards making money. I don't sign bad contracts on purpose.
But I do them aggressively toward virtue and I hope religion,
Yeah,
which
very
is a
fair.
habit of virtue to
But
give
if
to
you
God
were
what he
read a
deserves.
contract in a business deal, if I sent you a business deal today that says, we're buddies, we build a company together, but if I ever change my mind, I get to wreck you, whether it's your fault or not.
Yeah.
That's a contract you will not sign.
That's true. I would not.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. And that's not a knock on religion or marriage.
But there's more,
I think that marriage and coming together in family is one of the most beautiful things in this world.
Yeah.
I don't believe in signing that contract.
But you, in a way, you have signed the contract because you and I don't need to go into business together. We could go into. I'm sure we could go into business together. We could start a
Michael,
new line
we
of
kill
cigars. We could kill it.
Two handsome guys and cigars. Let's go.
But we don't need to start a business together. I could start some other kind of business. I could
As
work
we
for
all
somebody.
could, yeah.
But we will get married one way or the other. You are married, kind of, even though you won't sign the. But because man is a coupling being, creature. We're attracted to women. We want to propagate the species. We want kids. We want to raise them. It's just that just comes to us. That is different than starting a widget factory, don't you think? Surely you do. That's how you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But I do think it's back to the point I was making earlier. We got off the subject. So the truth of the world. I've said that on that subject. The competencies it will take to be successful in the world. This is what I would want for all my followers, for my children, everybody. And then choice. And so.
What do you mean by choice?
Choice. I'll give you a great example. I want my children to know the truth of the world. I want to give them the competencies it takes for them to create a life where they have choice, even if I don't agree with their decisions.
Why do you want that for them?
Because
I don't want that for my kids.
What do you want for your children? You don't want your children to have choice. Let me give you a great example.
I don't.
My
Their life
daughters-
might entail choice, but it's not my chief goal for them.
My daughters, I teach them the truth of the world. I give them the competencies and set them up. Let's be fair. I will do that. And then I want them to have the choice whether they want to be with a man or not.
Do you want your kid? You say, all right, this is what I want for you, kiddo.
My kids, it's such an important thing.
Either you say, and you can say one of these two things to your kid.
Okay.
Kid, I want for you someday never to shoot heroin, ever. Not even once, don't even think about it. Or, kid of mine, I want you to be so well set up that you have the choice of whether or not to shoot heroin. You're telling me you would advocate the latter over the former?
I think you're choosing an extreme.
I am, to elucidate the point.
Right, and I appreciate that. But let's say my daughter wanted to be a lesbian.
Yeah.
I would say, baby, I think you'd be much happier in this other situation, but as long as you are living your life with choice, then who am I to judge you? Because I'm not
Hold on.
Jesus.
So you would rather your daughter have choice than happiness?
Isn't her choice happiness in the first place?
You just distinguished between the two. You said, I
No,
think
I
you would
didn't.
be happier if you weren't a lesbian, but I want you to have choice rather than what I think will give you happiness.
How about this? What if she did?
God forbid.
God forbid, literally. I would hate that.
Yes, and that would make her miserable.
But would I turn my back on her?
You wouldn't turn your back. I'm not saying turn your back on her. You shouldn't turn your back on her.
And I'd want her to have choice. I'd say, baby.
Why would you want her to have choice? That's the thing. You would never turn your back on her. Of course, you don't turn your back on your kid. But
because I know that she's going to do what she wants to do anyway.
you're saying she just will have choice.
She will have choice, but I also want her to have choice.
Why? That's the part I'm confused with.
Yeah, I have choice in my life.
And you've made good choices and bad choices.
Yeah, and many people disagree with some of my choices, but you know what? It's not their life to live.
It's important to clarify that what we are talking about when it comes to marriage and religion is the best way to live that produces happiness, peace, stability, meaning, and fulfillment for human beings. There is a best way to live, objectively, for human beings. You can decide to live according to that way or not. That is the choice that you have as a human being, which Michael Knowles is trying to get at here. Waller talks about the truth of the world and teaching that to his kids. The truth of the world is that there are choices, behaviors, ways of living that produce peace, stability, meaning, and fulfillment, and choices and behaviors, ways of living that produce misery, fear, chaos, and regret. He knows this and acknowledges it here and contradicts himself.
Can I tell you why I think God's real?
Why?
If you look at the facts, if you watch Christianity go throughout a map and you watch civilizations thrive and grow and develop and flourish, that is from a collective consciousness of faith in something bigger than them that created the virtues for them to act in synchronicity together in order to create something that would otherwise not have been created. That is why I believe in God.
Doesn't happen with Shintoism.
This is right. There is a way of living that produces peaceful, stable, thriving, fulfilled individuals and societies. A Christian believes this way of living is the imitation of Christ, the mimicking of the logos through which the entire universe was created and is governed. Any individual, family, business, organization, institution, society, civilization produces good precisely in the measure of their proper alignment with God, Christ. Individuals, families, businesses, organizations, institutions, societies, and civilizations degenerate precisely because of misalignment with God, Christ. Marriage, an institution aligned with God and how humans were created to live, that produces stable children and family that serve as the bedrock foundation of a healthy, good society, is struggling because of degenerate, misaligned individuals. For aligned individuals, marriage is not hard or risky. It's meaningful and fulfilling. Marriage is not the problem. The problem is individuals and a culture choosing to pursue a life off the path towards God.